people, it's me, Anya. Welcome back to my channel, and welcome to a new recent reads. I've been reading so well lately. In March, I read a total of 28 books, which was so great. April has started off very strong, and due to this quarantine, I would say honestly, my reading isn't worse or better than usual. It's pretty good. It's pretty great. It's pretty normal. I've been reading a lot lately, which is normal for me. I'm a very fast reader. As you know, if you've been watching my YouTube channel since last year or early this year when I did my reading wrap up for 2019, I did honestly read a total of 370 books. And I explained in that video that I didn't want to set a numerical reading goal for 2020 because setting one last year just put a lot of pressure on me, and I honestly felt like I was obligated to read so that I could reach a certain number, and it just was really bad. So this year I did not set any numerical reading goals. I'm not joining any readathons. I know everyone's doing the OWL magical readathon and the reading rush and all that stuff, but I'm not doing anything because I don't want to feel like I have to read. Like, reading is not an obligation, it's for my personal enjoyment. So anyway, the first book on this recent reads list is You'll Miss Me When I'm Gone, written by Lynn Solomon. This is a YA contemporary that I rated 4 stars. It's about these two twin sisters named Adina and Tova, and it tells the story of when a diagnosis for Hutchinson's disease changes their already fragile relationship, because one of the sisters tests positive and the other one tests negative. And I really like this story because it talks about the complexity of sisterhood, which I don't think is represented enough in YA, since most people don't even have siblings. And I really liked that Rachel did a great job bringing both sisters to life, and there was never a point in time where I preferred one sister over the other. I was rooting for both of them, even if I was reading in the other sister's perspective. You know, it was a really good story. So, yes. The next book that I read is called Dangerous Alliance, written by Jennieke Cohen. This is a historical romantic book. I ended up rating it 3.5 stars, just because I liked Vicky. She was a strong female character for her time. If this story was set in the 21st century, I think I would have enjoyed it a little bit less, just because I'm used to that kind of representation. And I like that the main theme of the story wasn't the whole romantic love story. It was more about the societal struggles of being a woman in this time period, especially regarding courtship and abusive relationships. So there was a trigger warning for abusive relationships. Yeah, I feel like that aspect of courtship is so underrated in historical fiction. I don't read a lot about that, and not just because of the fact that abusive relationships shouldn't happen, because of the trigger warning, but also abusive relationships in the 21st century is not a new concept. This has been going on since the beginning of time, and it continues to happen, and it's really sad and horrible. But especially a story written in, I think this story is set in the 19th century, what really happens to the woman affected by that. I think that that's really important, especially since I kind of think it still happens in 2020. I digress. This story was good. I thought it was 3.5 stars, which is a good rating. I kind of wish that it was better, but anyway, I digress. The next book that I read is called Out of Left Field, written by Klages. I don't know how to pronounce this. It's historical fiction, and it follows Katie, who is 11 years old, I think, and it's set in 1957 as she fights for equal rights as a baseball player. And I really love this book. This book knocked it out of the park, and it was so good and so informative, and Ellen clearly did her research, because I learned so much from this book. And I said this in probably my previous videos, but one of my favorite elements of historical fiction is the fact that I get to learn a lot, because I love learning new things. And I appreciate it when authors do their research. And it frustrated me and it fascinated me to learn about all these female baseball players who were clearly done dirty in history. And even though like I don't play baseball myself, nor am I a huge sports person, it was just so good and I just loved it. And I'm very familiar with Ellen's previous work. I read Green Glass Sea when I was in school, and then I read the sequel to that. And Out of Left Field is her best work. It's so good, so informative, and like I said, even for a person who doesn't play baseball or is frankly interested in sports myself, it was just so interesting and fascinating, and like I can't stop talking about it. This is the best book that I read in this list. The next book that I read is called Things You Can't Say, written by Jenn Bishop. This was a juvenile contemporary fiction book about a boy who's determined to uncover the truth, so it's also like a bit of a mystery. I rated this book 3 out of 5 stars. It didn't necessarily disappoint me, it was just kind of there. I don't really know how else to describe it. Like, it wasn't absolutely amazing, it was a good story, and I expected nothing less, you know? Like, I wish that I could say that it surprised me and that it was 4 stars and whatever, but it wasn't. There's nothing much else to say to this review. I don't know, it's one of those books that I can't even say if I would have enjoyed it better if I was in the age group that it's tailored for. I wish that I could say that I could. There's a trigger warning, by the way, for grief and suicide. But yeah, there's nothing much else to add. The next book that I read is called Mad, Bad, and Dangerous to Know, written by Samira Ahmed. I loved this book. It's told in alternating perspectives that bridge centuries. One story set in modern day and another story set 150 years ago, I think. And it's the 2 women are just strong female characters. I love them to death. They're just so good. It's told, like I said, it's told in alternating narratives that bridge centuries about 2 young women trying to write their own stories in worlds too long defied by men. And it's just it's a feminist story. And I normally don't really enjoy feminist stories, even though like I'm a feminist. But I feel like this story like did it so well. And I loved it. It was so good. I rated it 4.5 stars. It's just absolutely, it's Samira's best work. I've previously read Samira's like previous books, Love and Hate and Other Filters and Internment. I think that's what it's called. And so I put this book on my TBR just because I'm familiar with Samira's work. But I was just genuinely surprised that Mad, Bad, and Dangerous to Know was absolutely so good. Like, oh my gosh, it was so good. And I would highly recommend it because this is a story that every woman needs to hear. The next book that I read is called Scream Sight, written by Justina Ireland. This is a YA thriller book about 14-year-old Sabrina as she investigates this site called Scream Sight, where girls put these videos on it, and then afterwards the girls start to disappear. I try to read YA thriller books, especially since I really enjoyed Truly Devious and The Vanishing Stare. But Scream Sight reminded me of why I don't like YA thrillers to begin with. Because, like, yes, the plot was intriguing, but the villain reveal kind of came out of nowhere. Kind of was just thrown in there to be there, you know? It was just kind of weird. And I wasn't emotionally connected to Sabrina or to any of the characters. I know that Sabrina is 14 years old, and I realized that, but I kind of found some of the things that she did to be a little bit, like, dumb. Like, she didn't always think of the consequences of what she was doing. And, like, even though, like, nothing happened as a result, I was just sitting there like, you're seriously gonna do this? By yourself? So that's why I ended up rating it 2.5 stars, because like I don't regret reading it. I just thought that there were more things about it that I disliked than the stuff that I actually enjoyed. So overall, I would not recommend it. The last book, and certainly not least, is The List of Things That Will Not Change, written by Stead. This is a juvenile contemporary book about a young girl named B who gets a new family when her parents get divorced and her dad gets remarried. So I really like this book. I'm very familiar with Rebecca's stories, so I knew that I was going to enjoy this book. I just didn't know that I was going to love this book. I loved B's character arc. I thought that all of the other characters were vivid and very real. I liked the representation of B's anxiety, especially in juvenile fiction, and I liked the representation of therapy as well, as somebody who's been to therapy and benefited from it, and honestly sometimes misses it. I think that therapy is an underrepresented element that people should talk more about, and people shouldn't like be afraid to talk about it. And like I said, I really liked B's character arc. I loved getting into her head and seeing how she thought. She's a character that I would love to be friends with, and I just truly loved this book. I rated it 4 stars. It was just really good. You know, like it was so good. So in conclusion, overall, I rated all of these books 4 stars, except for Things We Can't Say, Dangerous Alliance, and Scream Sight. The worst book that I've read over in this list is Scream Sight, and the best books were Out of Left Field and Mad, Bad, and Dangerous to Know. I'm so excited for this upcoming month because I think it's going to be a great month. Since we're all in quarantine, I've been doing a lot of reading, even though, like I said at the beginning of this video, it's not like I've been reading more or less than usual. I've gotten back to normal, which is great, and I'm just excited because quality over quantity, you know? So if you have read any of these books, let me know your thoughts in the description. I keep saying in the description, in the comments section below, and let me know how you've been doing in quarantine. I've been doing pretty well. I've had some bad days, some like bad mental health days, but like overall I have found that writing out my thoughts like in my journal is so therapeutic for me. It's absolutely the best, and it's just so good. And Easter's this weekend, so I'm excited for that. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, like I said before previously, since I'm in quarantine, most of my bookish content will be recent reads, like this video, and recommended reads. Since like, also by the way, if you've been wondering where I've been getting all these books lately, since obviously bookstores are closed, libraries are closed, I'm using my personal, I don't know why I say my personal, it's not my personal library, but I've been using digital libraries, which is how I can get like all of these new releases really soon. I don't know if you've noticed this, but this makes me happy. In each of these recent reads videos, I've been reading at least one 2020 release, which is so cool. Not to flex on anybody or anything, these videos are not for bragging purposes or for brownie points or anything. I just love sharing what I've been reading, and because I love reading, and that's what this booktube channel is mostly about, to just share what I love. So yeah, anyway, that long outro out of the way. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Comment down below if you've read any of these books and your thoughts on them if so. Yeah, thanks for watching. Happy reading. I hope that everyone's staying safe, staying inside, staying healthy, and I hope that everybody has a good day.